Hi, everyone. I can't. Okay, now start over.
Start over.
Hello. Hi, everyone. It's me, Fran. I'm one of the co-hosts of Deep Convo's podcast. Meg isn't here because she has a life. And also I didn't record our last podcast properly. So here's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get Jack, who you've met before in our relationships podcast, which you should check out if you haven't checked it out yet. And today we're going to talk about questions you women have just been burning to ask a member of the opposite sex, according to Cosmo and 17 and her campus and Teen Vogue. So I figured, why not just bring Jack in here? He's my friend. He lives here. He's been on the podcast before.
He's the closest.
He's also the closest that I've got. And also he doesn't care that I'm embarrassing. So, and also he doesn't care that I'm drunk right now. So, so we're just going to dive. Wait, do you want to say something about yourself, Jack? I don't know.
Introduce yourself? I guess I should reintroduce myself. I mean,
yeah, for noobs.
But in a shorter fashion, I don't really know.
Yeah, don't put the other stuff that you put in.
I've lived with Fran for almost a year. We're good buds. We met through a high school friend of mine who then went to college with her later, named Tree, our friend Tree. And you know Tree.
Out.
Yeah, shout out Tree.
Tree.
We call him Tree because he's so tall.
He's like what, 6'5", 6'4"?
Yeah, maybe 6'4", 6'5". He's not
tall.
He's not incredibly tall. Like
he is 6'5" is super tall.
There's different sizes of trees. So he's like a good sized tree, like a really good sized tree.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. I don't want to like.
This is not about Tree.
I don't want to put a point on it, but
he's
not the tallest person. He's just a tall guy.
Oh my God.
And that's how we know each other.
Oh my God. Okay,
so Fran moved to Brooklyn, and he's like, "You guys should get in touch." And then we got in touch, and then I needed a place to live, and then I ended up moving in with Fran.
Little did he know, our apartment is an oven in the summer. Oh wait, you did. That's when you interviewed.
That's when I interviewed, and I was sweating.
And you still took it.
I missed the first interview because I was too nervous.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. Did I give you a hug then? I really wanted to.
I think I
did.
I don't know.
Wow, you can't even remember it. That's how anxious you were.
It's a sad thing. It's a sad thing about having social anxiety that you get really anxious in the most embarrassing times. Like that was not a time to get that anxious, and I just was not in the right mental space. But that's me. That's me.
No, I mean, you're half joking, but in the future we should really talk about social anxiety.
We should. That's
because I have it.
We know a lot about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, extremely familiar.
Soups familiar.
Soups familiar.
With the social anx.
Ew. Let's get back to brass tacks here.
And then maybe I should talk a little bit about like what kind of guy I am, or just like.
Do you want to talk about what kind of guy you are?
Just.
I'm only the one editing here, so like whatever you want to say, Jack. Okay, fine. No. You should because like not all guys are the same. Not all guys are the same.
I'm not gonna describe myself. I'm just gonna be like, I'm a nice guy. I'm cool. I'm just gonna say
you're not cool,
I'm a 29, soon to be 30-year-old white guy. I have my hairline's been receding since I was 17 or 18.
For real?
Yeah, it's been a slow go. But since quarantine and everything, I've just decided to buzz my hair. And I think this is just how I'm going to look for the rest of my life. I couldn't get a haircut.
Hey, a lot of women like bald/shaved heads.
Yeah, if you look like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Jason Statham, they love bald heads. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't hurt.
Yeah. No, I think most men are surprised how well they can pull off the bald look. It's cool. Yeah. So, sorry, I don't know much about the thing.
Okay.
Much about what you have planned. So you go ahead. You take it.
I don't have any. But the plan is I'm going to ask you these questions.
Okay. I thought it might be helpful to give people context.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't even think that far into it. But they should know that you're the kind of, I'm going to describe you because it helps. Sometimes people who know you just know you more,
great.
like know you more than yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You are indeed a white guy.
Mm-hmm.
But you are a very sensitive, like in touch with your emotions person. So I think that, and you're not open all of the time, but when you choose to be, this might be too much info, but anyway, when you choose to be open, you're honest about it. You don't really, yeah, no, I mean, I can really relate to your anxiety. You are anxious, but I mean, I know an anxious person when I see one because I am also one. So
the little tip for the crowd, they're often the most calm looking person in the room.
Yes, we like are so skilled with holding in all of it. And then people are like, you're so chill, Fran. Like, how do you do it? And I'm like, how do I do it? Repression.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. And therapy. That's okay. We're getting carried away. This is
we're painting a
deep
portrait. Yes.
Deep
a richly painted portrait.
Yeah. This is all gonna help because his answers don't reflect all guys' answers. Okay. I think that suffices. So we're gonna go ahead and just dive in. Yes, sip your tea because we're gonna go real deep here.
I'll sip the tea before I spill the tea.
Oh, ooh! Title of the episode. Okay. I was gonna do it. Why do guys ghost?
Why do guys ghost? Oh boy. Guys ghost because it's easier than expressing your feelings. And in, sometimes you like someone a lot. You go on a date and you like them a lot. You're like, wow, this person's great, but I'm not feeling it. And I don't have the skills or the confidence in myself or the other person to be able to, like, first, I don't have the skills to express that specific feeling. And it seems easier. And I also don't have confidence in myself or the other person to handle the face-to-face. Like, listen, we went on 2 dates. We had fun. Or, I mean, it could have been terrible, but usually the ghosting is considered ghosting because you had a good time. Like, it wouldn't be really ghosting if you guys fucking hated each other.
To one person at least, it was a good
time. Yes. So, but also, if you're with two people, if there's two people and one person's having a good time but the other isn't, you can usually get a sense of, like, if the other person is enjoying themselves. Like, they think that you're having a good time, which is why they're like, why they're confused, because you, even if you just don't want to fully properly express, like, oh, I'm not having as good a time as them, because that feels like it would hurt their feelings. And you ghost because you just want it to go away, because it just seems easiest.
I have so many questions, but 2 questions immediately popped in my head. One, what exactly are you afraid of that's going to happen when you tell them you're not into them?
Honestly, I think a big part is just, like, you're afraid of being honest with someone about, like, an intimate feeling. That is one thing. And that's just something that it's not specific to men, but I can just sympathize with that feeling of, like, just not being practiced at expressing certain things. Like you said, there's some things and sometimes when I'm really personally very available emotionally and, like, willing to talk about certain things, but there's other things that I'm just not good at. And I'm ghosting is like a truly ridiculous and rude thing to do. But if you don't have those skills and it's an option available, you don't want to take it, but you let it happen essentially. And like it also seems like kind of an easy explanation, not having the skills. Like, it's wrong, but you try to explain it away. So, oh, it was only 2 dates. Like, oh, it doesn't matter. Or are you busy yourself with other dates? If could imagine, like, if you're on dating apps or whatever, like,
yeah. Do you ever like, but doesn't it make you feel like super shitty like afterward? Like,
yeah,
it does.
yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends on the person, the situation.
I mean, I know that, I mean, I don't know to what extent I've ghosted, but I know that I have, after going on a date or two, I like haven't been clear to the other person how I felt about it. And honestly, it's something that's taken me a long time to like not only realize I need to be very like explicit about this, and then to be able to like just do it confidently and simply and be like, I had a great time, but I'm looking for something like really special and specific here, and this just isn't it. That's a pretty easy thing to say if you know what you're looking for,
right.
And it wasn't until I spoke with my sister, who's been ghosted before, I hope she doesn't mind me saying that, but I think it's just an experience a lot of people share. But she said on her part that she's gone out with a guy and a couple times, or a number of times, when the other guy's been really interested and been reaching out to her, and she'll just say, listen, I'm just not into it. And the guy's like, wow, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate you just telling me.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's been my experience, is that when I am honest with the person and I tell them, I had a great time, but I don't think it's what I'm looking for, or whatever the reason is, or like it's not going to work out in the long run. I've had the response of like, thank you for being honest and not just either like leading me on or like just jetting. So
of course that's the response, because if you ask anyone in the world, would you rather have someone lie to you or be honest with you, 10 times out of 10 you'd say be honest with me, no matter what it is. And it's gonna hurt sometimes and it's gonna stink, but of course everyone prefers other people being honest with them. Like,
oh yeah, of
course.
I mean, it hurts both ways, but it hurts more when you go. It hurts more
because it's the not knowing and like just the confusion, and then you start to lose faith in the next situation. And there's lots of situations where I'm like, fuck, I just wish I handled that better. That's really unfair. It's really rude. And in cases like that, they've like made they've made me aware of how upset they were about it. And I've personally grown from those things, but I think the texting makes it much easier. I don't know if ghosting was actually, yeah, ghosting was probably a thing before texting.
There was definitely a thing. Just don't send them letters. Like,
you just got on your ship and went across the sea.
Yeah, just don't.
Never heard from you again.
Cross the ocean. Oh my God, how many drinks do you have? 3?
I had a smoothie, I got some seltzer for the bubbles, and I got some tea for the relaxation.
You're like ready to be hydrated.
I think I'm sweating. That's why I'm.
No, I know. I'm sweating right now. I'm sweating for you.
How many questions are you going to ask?
I know it took so long to answer that question.
Is this an interview?
Okay, it is.
Oh, it is an interview.
It fucking is. Okay, next question. This is not a relationship podcast. I mean, it kind of is. Anyway, here's the second one. Do men view women differently if they do it the first time they... Oh, fuck, I can't read it. The first time they hang out.
Yeah, they're cool.
No, really, I'm serious. Answer truthfully.
Is the assumption that we think less of them, or is that just an open question, because I guess I'm trying to focus how I would look at that question.
I mean, answer both. I think the implication is that, do you look at us as sluts, or like someone who's like, oh, she's just here for a good time, whatever, and not serious about it?
I would say the feeling of whether or not they're just here for a good time is totally in how they've carried themselves throughout the night or throughout the whole time I've known them. That like can't be determined by, in my opinion, just by if they slept with you or not. And I've been on dates where we sleep together on the first night, and I've been in relationships like recently in my life where they've preferred to wait for like, I don't know, a month or two, which is not super common. So I personally think that the sexual component of a relationship is incredibly important to me. So I prefer that it happens much sooner in the relationship. And that's part of because I prefer being with someone who's sex positive has a sex positive mindset and just sees like intimacy and sexuality as being really important to a relationship. So I've been on really good dates and we haven't slept together on the first night, and that's exciting. But I've also been on good dates where we've slept together on the first night, and that's also exciting. So it's like,
right, like you didn't like count them off as like, oh, this person just wants to have sex.
No, and that's actually like started a number of really great long-term relationships for me. And that to me is just like, oh, you could sleep with someone on the first date, and then then you sleep with them, you're like, oh, okay, that was good, but like it showed me what I was looking for. I'm not as interested as I thought I was, or it's confirmed to me like, wow, we like have a great connection, that we would have enough trust in each other to do this.
Right. So you're saying there could be some value in even doing it the first time if that happens.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. But you can also be have a great first date and then not sleep together. And
totally.
It's like just as exciting, but I think it totally depends on your dynamic, you know. Some people, you just have this connection with them and it's like, it's just very like, what, okay, yeah, I just want to sleep with this person right now.
I have so many follow-up questions, but this is not the podcast for that.
You don't have to race through.
No, we do. Okay, I don't want to edit a 2-hour
I'm not going to tell you how to run your podcast, but ask me what's interesting to you.
Okay. So no, I lost it. I forgot it. I immediately forgot it.
30 minutes after this, I can't talk about this. So
really?
Yeah, this is the last time this is ever being answered in the history of.
Oh my God. Don't joke about that. Because there's gonna be a part 2.
I'm dead serious.
Not. What do you first notice about a woman? Bam.
That's a good question.
Isn't it?
That's a good question. I guess probably confidence.
Okay.
Probably confidence, because you can determine it from like a bunch of different angles of like different, if it's talking, if it's seeing them on the street, if it's like hearing them at a party, whatever, you can just like picking up on if they like to smile, if they're like a smiley person, I'll pick up on that. Like, I don't think I'm a super smiley person all the time. So I wonder what I would think about myself. But like, it's contagious, you know, and it's just kind of like, it's just really attractive when someone smiles all the time, or they're happier, and I just think confidence is like that X factor that people are always overlooking, especially when they're thinking about themselves. they're like, oh, I'm not good looking enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm like fat, whatever. It's like, yeah, you can be attractive no matter what you look like, you know. Not to everyone, but you don't have to be attractive to everyone.
Yeah.
I think if you're confident, that multiplies your attractiveness by like, I don't even know. I can't even put a number on it.
Yeah. So you're saying if a woman walks into a room and she doesn't matter what she looks like, if she carries herself with confidence and like just a comfort in her body and like how she carries herself, that would draw your attention.
Yeah, for sure. Being comfortable in her skin. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to think if I
That's the
like,
first thing you would notice. I mean, it's a pretty big. If you have that aura, it is pretty big. You
it's
do notice
just,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're just drawn to people who are confident and they're like cracking jokes or they're laughing because they have like, they're just relaxed enough to have a good sense of humor. That's really appealing. And
Yeah.
it doesn't always have to be like sexual, but it's like, okay, I want to be around that person. That's, yeah, that's probably it. But I mean, for maybe like a physical aspect, it's probably a smile. But that goes with like the kind of the attitude someone has. You know, if they have
Yeah.
a nice smile, then it's just like pleasing to be around that person.
Right. Oh, that was so sweet and tamer than I thought. Okay.
Were you like holding your breath for what the heck I would say there?
No,
If he
I'm just
says tits, I'm gonna fucking kill him.
yeah. I'm not a saint. I'm not a saint. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm guilty too.
Well,
Anywho,
yeah, I mean,
what?
if someone were to say about dudes, like, yeah, like big biceps, I'd be like, right on. Like, yeah, if that's your, what you're,
Yeah, although that's like if it's no, never mind.
or
Anyway,
it's really in the traps. You got big traps, you look huge. So
I don't
that's,
like that. I know, but it's not about me. It's about you.
yeah.
Um,
So we're not talking about dudes, we're talking about women.
talking about what women want to know.
Yeah.
So, makeup or no makeup?
Sex.
What? What?
Makeup or no makeup sex?
Oh,
I'm,
that's a good question too, but I feel like the
that is
answer
a
to
good
that is
question.
like yes. No, I meant makeup.
Well, to
Makeup.
my question, yes, but also never ever, but also very much yes. Um,
No, who would say okay, I know a lot of
oh,
people.
sorry, I was thinking of breakup sex. Sorry. Yeah,
No,
makeup
I
sex,
would
yeah.
say yes to makeup sex and I would say yes to breakup sex.
Okay.
But that's not about again, it's not about me.
Yeah, yeah, it's not
And also
about.
it's not about sex, it's about makeup.
It's about makeup. I would say either, and I would say, I mean, I don't even really.
Like do you think about that or like what I don't know.
Yeah, I think the only time I think about it, and I don't know if this is like insensitive. I really don't know. The only time I think about makeup on a woman is if it's like visibly too much, and then I'm like thinking about it, or like the their blush or their foundation is just kind of distracting, and it's like a different color than their neck or the rest of their body, and it's like
Oh
that.
jeez.
Then I'm thinking about it, and I would think that the whole point either way is to not think about it. But I think it's it's just nice to, however you meet someone. If you meet someone, a woman out in public, typically very often they're wearing a little bit of makeup if you're meeting them out like in public. That's not always the case, but then if it is someone who wears makeup often and then you're dating them, and then I don't know how long it takes, maybe it's like a couple weeks or whatever, but you're starting to get comfortable with each other, and then you'll see them without makeup, and that's, I don't know, I that's
Yeah.
just,
I mean, I can imagine if it, like you've only seen them with makeup and then you see them a couple of weeks later without makeup, and if it's like radically a different person, you're saying that's like, oh wow, this is what you actually look like, as opposed to like if someone puts on makeup and then they have no makeup and they're just equally the person that you fell in like with right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I would say even if they don't wear that much makeup, when they take their makeup off, they look different. So it could even be just like, it could just be lipstick, or it could just be like, I don't know, maybe they like put liner in their eyebrows or something, or like mascara on. It's like just that difference just feels really intimate. Like when you're with someone and then they take their makeup off, it's like, yeah, so this is something that not everyone gets to see all the time.
Yeah.
It depends on the person.
Yeah.
But that's like pretty enjoyable to get to know someone when they're often wearing makeup, and then to see them without makeup, and then to realize like this feels more intimate. And I'm also like, I mean, I think if you really like the person, you're probably more attracted to them without makeup. But because it's like a different, it's just a different feeling.
Right.
Yeah, you're like attracted to them in a different way. This feels real, and it's like, all right, if I were to, you're always thinking those crazy thoughts, no matter how early it is in the relationship. If I'm going to like live with this person, then this is often how I'll see them. So that's like a big thing,
I'm going to throw a curveball.
It's like if I were to wear a toupee and I didn't take it off.
If like you had taken off your toupee and then the woman was like, no, I can't, you're not, like, that's like a pretty radical shift. Like,
yeah, maybe a toupee is like wearing a mask. It's like, maybe that would be the equivalent.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a big thing. If you're totally bald and then you just put a chunk of hair on your head, that's a big
chunk of hair. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay. Curve a ball.
I don't know why, but I'm slowly.
This is nervous. So exciting. So a thought that just occurred to me is like, what about push-up bras? Oh man, here we go.
I mean, I would certainly not say no. What I would say, the bras I do like are the, I don't know if it's like a newer kind, but it's like it's like they're thin and kind of lacy, and
there's like, no padding. It's just lace bras.
It's just like, I think, support or something, but I don't know. That's kind of,
so it's like lace, but like there's still underwire. It like still supports the girls, but
sometimes I think it's just like it's something holding them. Yeah, I don't even know how much support it's giving. I don't even know if there's an underwire, but it's just like it's like putting some tighty whities on your boobies.
Bralettes.
Is that what they are?
Yeah, it's just like the bare minimum to support the girls, but I shouldn't call them like girls.
They're thin and it's like,
they're so comfortable. Yeah, no, I think the bralettes.
They look comfortable. Yeah,
they're like highly preferred amongst women.
Well, they're highly preferred amongst me.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I think
bralettes?
They look good and they look comfortable. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. So you like that it's comfortable for us, and that attracts you. Oh,
well, yeah. It's also, there's a simplicity there, like
that's so
thick, beefy bras. I don't know. I'm like, oh, those look comfortable too, I guess, but they look like there's just more going on. So, like the simplicity of the lacy bralettes is like, I think it's just really attractive anyway. Like,
dude, okay, that in that sense, we're totally on the same page there.
We're on the same bra page.
We're on the same bra page. The other bras are not comfortable. Oh my God, I can't even imagine for big-breasted women. Like, I'm sure it's worse.
I can't imagine for
so much worse
big-breasted women.
Jesus.
But push-up bras, sure. Well, so like, is that meaning
because okay, so
it could be misleading
in the same sense with makeup? Push-up bras, like whatever works for you. I mean, women, whatever works for you. But like, there's the debate. I don't know what you want to call it, where like push-up bras like sort of makes it look like you have more going on than you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you like think that, or like you're just like, whatever works for you. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, I should answer this question with a question of my own. How do women feel about banana hammocks?
What do you mean? Like, what are banana hammocks? I mean, I have an idea. What is it?
I think they're just kind of string thongs that men wear, and they just hold your junk in the middle, and it's kind of like if you make everything else look tiny, then the balls look bigger.
I mean, I can't speak for all women, but I don't like them.
You kind of put the balls and the penis in the same satchel real tight, and then you're like, is that all his penis, or are the balls contributing to the heft? It's probably a false equivalency.
I don't like it. Oh, anyway, let's go back.
I would say whatever they want to wear, really, because honestly, I don't think push-up bras are as deceiving as most women think. Like, if a woman has like these, I don't even know how you would tell. It's like maybe you can see the top of their cleavage in a shirt, and it's like these round, perfectly round breasts. It's like, yeah, that's not how they would ever sit. But the push-up bra making them look perfectly round, and it's like, okay, that's probably push-up
but
bra.
like you're saying that, of course, we don't think when the bra is off they're gonna look like that, is what you're saying,
right?
Okay, I don't think all guys are as smart as you, but anywho, moving.
Well, maybe they don't pay attention to the details like I do.
No, yeah, they don't. Well, I'm glad you're an enlightened person regarding.
Also, like, I have some thoughts I need to organize real quick. Okay. It shouldn't be like if you're with a woman and she has enough breasts to look like big breasts in a push-up bra, then and you're like, oh, and you're like going to bed and whatever, and you get to see the boobies for the first time. I don't see why there would be any reason to be like disappointed or upset if she takes off the push-up bra and it's like, those aren't as big as I expected. But it's like,
yeah,
I don't think there's really any reason to be disappointed.
I mean, dude, you're preaching to the choir. I'm just saying there are some dudes out there, I think.
I know. Listen,
that are like,
I
don't know.
There's a lot of talk about how terrible men can be, and it's sad. And I hear a lot of stuff, and I'm certain I contribute to a lot of it, unbeknownst, or or maybe, well, now it's beknownst, but I don't want to contribute to some of these bad stereotypes and things, but I certainly have, but there's a sadness about being a man, apparently, because there's just a lot of ignorance and just doing stupid stuff and having stupid preferences and ideas about women. And it's like the amount of like, especially on online dating, when you're just messaging and like talking to each other about your profiles, the amount of comments I get about just being like a decent, polite person. I'm like, this shouldn't be the bar that I am.
Wait, you do?
Competing to.
Like, yeah, women are like, wow, you're so decent.
It looks like you can put some sentences together and describe yourself without like having a photo where you're flexing, or even fake flexing, or like wow, trying to have like modest humble what is it? Humble modest confidence or whatever.
Oh, humble confidence.
I'm thinking of humble bragging.
No, that makes sense. I don't know what the term is, but
yeah, I think just those comments like that, I'm like, oh, okay, there's like definitely some real pieces of shit.
There are. I mean, especially on the apps.
I mean, I hear it from all my women friends and my sister. They're telling me all these ridiculous.
Is your sister? Wait, she's single still?
Yeah, she's been on dating apps here and there, and
how old is she?
Has like ridiculous stories. She's 32.
Oh my god! Oh, I want to have her on the pod.
Shit, you guys are the same age?
Oh my god, I'm 31. Yeah, practically the same age.
I've always seen my sister as like just way older and more mature than I am. So it's crazy to think
I really like you.
She's
Just keep on.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah,
going.
she's 32. Yeah.
Yeah. She should be on the podcast. We can talk about it.
That would be fun.
Is it true that guys think about sex every 7 seconds? You're gonna be like, no, more.
Yeah, like 5 seconds. It might average out to that, but it's like, how do you count that? Because there's hours that go by I don't think about sex, but then there might be 3 hours straight where I'm thinking about sex. So that's only one time though. If it's 3 hours straight, well, you got to disperse all those seconds throughout the day.
Yeah, I think this is average.
It might be 7 seconds.
I think this, so you're saying the average of 7 seconds is like approximately, it sounds right.
Probably. Hard to say, because I probably think about it more than I even realize I think about it.
Yeah.
When I'm bored, I'll think about it, or I'll like entertain myself with sexy thoughts.
So you're saying though that like it definitely more than a couple times a day. Like it's definitely multiple times a day.
Yep.
Okay. It's not a shocker. I don't know why women are wondering this. Curveball
again.
So if you wait, no, I already asked you that. Never mind. Do you want to say on the podcast? I don't know. I already asked you it last night.
Go, sure. Yeah, the listeners deserve to hear it.
You want to know this really private thing about you. So then on that note, how often do you masturbate?
Oh, I wish you didn't ask this.
You said ask you.
No, I'm an open book.
You can say no. You can be like, can we move on?
Except for when I'm not at all.
Jesus.
So, oh wait, okay, that's a really specific question. So, can you ask, how often do men masturbate?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm saying
my mom will never listen to this.
I'm saying you and like the men, the generic, like the generic men. You.
Yes.
It's just easier to say you instead of like men.
Ustedes.
Yeah, but see, our language doesn't allow for that, so I had to say you.
No.
So you know what I mean.
English is so stupid.
I agree.
Oh, that's a whole other episode, by the way. How stupid English is.
Oh yeah. Believe me, I have thoughts.
Moose and geese. Okay. Anyway.
It's stupid. Like the plural alone, the plural construction. There's just so many. Okay, let's just not get carried away with that. Can we stick to masturbation?
So back to masturbation.
You don't have to answer it. It was a curveball that like directly related to thinking about sex.
It's also, we're in quarantine time, so it's like it's distorted reality.
Okay, do you want to talk about it like outside of quarantine, like before?
Yeah,
quarantine?
Just generally, as if life is all normal.
Generally, yeah.
Forget that we're in this strange alternate reality.
Yeah, because
this is just normal stuff. You can go out, you can socialize
right now.
You can see people and date. It depends how good the getting is. You know what I'm saying? What's the phrase? When the getting's good. Yeah. How it depends on how good the getting is. So if I'm in a relationship and I'm frequently having sex, I'm not masturbating that much. But if I'm single, actually it's not all the time. When I'm single, sometimes I'm just like, fuck it, I'm not even feeling like. If I'm single and lonely, then yeah, I'll probably do it often, like every day, close to it. But there's been times I've been single and I'm like, whatever, I'm not even interested, then I'll go like maybe a few times a week
without doing it.
With doing it.
I see. Okay.
2 to 3 times a week or something.
Okay. Okay.
It's not. I mean, that's a far cry from when I was a kid. It was like.
When you discovered
my penis hurt.
Yeah. When you like discovered like, oh, my penis can feel like this. Like, whoa.
Yeah. and everything was sexy. Now, these days, very little is sexy, I'll tell you.
Yeah, you're probably like, oh, that piece of fruit is really arousing me right now.
And also, like, my ability to fantasize is diminished greatly, and it's something I'm like,
you gotta work on that.
I'll work on it from time to time and be like, what about this person in this situation, or like these two people, and what if something spontaneous, I came upon this person spontaneously and we hit it off. Creating these fantasies. So now it's taking work, whereas when I was a kid, it would just happen, and I would literally like close my eyes in the middle of the school day and
oh my God,
fantasize about the teacher I had in my last class or whatever, you know, because they had
boobs. My God, dudes are so, oh my God.
I went through puberty when I was young, and it was just a lot to handle when I was the only one. You know, I was 12 or something. There just wasn't a lot of guys going through puberty. And
really? That's the age people.
Guys. There was a few of us, but like, I don't know, we didn't talk about it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Yeah. I mean, I went through that phase when I was like, around your age, 12. And, but I felt like, I was like, oh no, only guys do this. Only guys play with their ding dong. So I was like, dude, and I was like, dude, I love the feeling of it. Like, I would get objects in the house. And I was like, oh my God, I need to clean this after, because it's like so wrong. Only guys do this. And then I found out later, like, women also do it. Like, and I don't know why I was so, I beat myself up a lot for that. But
I would say I discovered it accidentally. Like, I actually, I think I have a great story about the first time I discovered it.
Oh no.
But it's just kind of like X-rated. I don't know if I'm prepared to share it on here, but I will say.
Okay, wait, can you tell me off mic?
Well, no, I'm not going to do that to the people listening, but I'll give a synopsis.
Okay, don't be too graphic. Don't be too graphic.
So it basically, I think an erection occurred, which, by the way, I remember talking about erections with my friend on the bus as early as like second grade or something. We were like talking to the crack against the window on the bus, and we're like, yeah, sometimes it gets hard. What the fuck? And I don't think.
Oh my God.
You know, we were both like, yeah, what is that? So that was just like going on forever, which I think is hilarious. Little baby wieners just like getting hard just randomly, and not having any social awareness to like be embarrassed by it. And so I remember I think there was just an erection before me while I was in my bed. And it's just like
an erection before you.
And it was like 5th or 6th grade, and I was just like, I don't know what made me do it, but I just started going at it really hard, like dry. And and then it all ended without much pleasure at all. I don't it didn't feel bad. It just, I don't remember anything. I don't remember like a big climax or anything fun happening at the end, but the stuff started coming out, and I got so freaked out that I stood up out of my bed and was like,
oh no, so you stood up while you were ejaculating. You stood up.
Yeah. And I seriously was so surprised. I stood up.
Oh my God.
Just like hands in the air. I was like, what the hell?
No. Did your parents like find out? Like,
what's all this screaming? They open the door and like, what the fuck? No.
Wait, did they? Oh, okay. No. Like no one ever like found out, and then they were like, oh, Jack, well, this is what happens when you do this.
Oh dear God. That would have been amazing. I wonder how that would have ruined my life. In how many ways that would have ruined my sexual progression.
Dude.
No, I just remember like I had a bunk bed with my brother, but I was alone in my room. Thank God.
Whew.
And I was just freaked out. And then I remember counting how many times I did it over like the next month or whatever, because I was like felt so guilty about it that I was like, okay, I won't do it 5 times. If I do it 5 times, then I'm a bad person. And so I would like space it out, but then I increasingly became more curious.
Yeah.
And it also started feeling better the more I did it. And I was like, okay, if I do it, I won't do it 10 times. 10 times is a limit. And then it just kept happening. And I was like, oh, what's wrong with me? I'm so bad.
Oh no. Is the guilt because of like what? Catholicism? What is it? Like,
Probably.
why did you feel guilty?
I have to blame Catholicism because I don't know. But why?
Yeah.
I just didn't know what was going on with me. And I think sometimes when you don't know about things and they feel good, it's just like, this has to be wrong.
Yeah, when something's Go ahead.
I still feel that way today. Like if things are going well for me, I'm like, all right,
yeah.
but like someone's gonna die soon.
Meg and I talked about that in the last episode. We were like, we humans like to dress rehearse for tragedy. That's a quote. Like when something good really happens, like really good happens to us, we're like, oh, this is not gonna last. Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm not gonna get comfortable here because it's gonna
such a terrible feeling.
It's a terrible feeling and a terrible habit. Like we can't just enjoy something like good that happens to us. Like
right. Yeah.
So like we're miserable all the time then, like 100% of the time. Yeah. That's another episode for another day. Wow.
Yeah, I think I'm more comfortable being happy with like a little bit of tension sprinkled in. So I'm happy, but I'm like, all right, but this is going to even out.
Right.
But I think the idea of like nothing good comes without suffering is a Catholic idea.
Right.
Not that I paid attention in church, but maybe it was just born inside me from listening to those guys.
Yeah, basically like don't seek pleasure for yourself. Like, because that's not good. It's a very Christian thing.
Yeah.
But that's again, this is a casual episode. It's not a religious one.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. You can
sex. We're not talking.
We're talking sex, not God. No, you can talk about God. They're very hand in hand. Dude, every time I masturbated, I just dreamt that God was looking down and was like,
he's like shaking his head.
He was like, wow, dude. Wow.
One step closer to hell.
Oh, and my parents didn't know that they had a DVD in there that was left in there from my grandma because she was like into the arts. It was like this indie movie called, I think it was called like The Lover or something, and there were like really tasteful / graphic sex scenes in there, and I was like, nice. This is like, oh, I wish someone would do this for me. Anyway,
I love that. Yeah, I knew every DVD in our house and where the boobs were in every movie. Like Titanic, I knew it was at the beginning of the second VHS tape because it was a 2 VHS tape movie. The nude scene, yeah.
Oh my God.
We had a black and white TV in my parents' room, and it was like it was maybe just a little bit bigger than my 13-inch laptop here. Such a small TV, and it was black and white, and the Howard Stern show was on there. And sometimes the reception wouldn't even come in. It was just like scraggly and stuff. You could just hear his voice in between hissing. And I would watch that show just because there'd be topless women, but it was all blurred out. But I would watch it because it was just like all so exciting.
Yeah, and your imagination like filled in the rest.
So. Today, I would not even consider that show.
Funny. LOL. Okay. Oh man, we're really taking our time here. What is the best and worst thing about being a guy?
Being a guy, best. Let's start with the worst. I would say the thing I probably struggle the most with is expressing how much I care about people I really love. That's maybe difficult for a lot of people, but like, it's just hard, especially with men. I just feel more comfortable doing that, like telling women how much I care about them. But even then it can be challenging for sure. But like with my dad and brother, I just struggle so much at just looking them in the eye and saying like, I love you. And,
yeah,
that is just a struggle for whatever reasons.
I mean, I can imagine what the reasons are.
Yeah, me too. And it's honestly things that I've been like digging into in therapy. And I think it's just going to be something I continue to work on. And I've made leaps before, but then I like regress or whatever. I'll say,
Yeah.
I'll either get really close to telling them how much I care about them, or I'll say it really, and then they'll hear me and be like really happy to hear it. But then I won't say it again for a long time because I'm like, oh, it took so much energy. And I feel like, I don't know what I have to push aside, but it's like, sometimes I want to say it so bad. I'm like, if I start saying it, my lips going to start quivering and I'm just not going to be able to say it. And it's going to be this embarrassing, disgusting moment.
Yeah. So it's also showing emotion too, not just telling them, but showing emotion is also part of it. Like that's also scary for you.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, I think that's a pretty good way of describing me, is like sometimes when I'm ready, I want to be an open book and I want to be very honest and forthcoming. But then there's times when it's just really a challenge for me, and I just kind of close up, and it's just hard for me to like really express what's on my mind. And I would say like so I like learned the term toxic masculinity in maybe like the last 2 to 3 years, which like is probably sad to a lot of people, but also maybe not surprising. And then I've, in learning about that, I've realized in all the ways it's impacted my life and the way I've like operated within it. And in no way is it helping anybody. Like it's not helping men. And I just think of all the guys I went to school with, all the guys I've known in my life who are smart, super goofy, funny guys. And then I hear about them like having, I don't even know how to really describe it. Like maybe having like a mental break or having an emotional episode or something. And it just sounds like something within them needs to break, to snap in order to release something. And I've always been curious if it was mostly guys, because I hadn't heard about women in my life experiencing that. Maybe that's just the way it's happened for me, but I don't know. I went to school and I would just hear stories about guys that I was friends with in school and just hear people saying, oh yeah, they like ended up in the hospital or whatever because they just were, they kind of had a mental break, or they're diagnosed with being bipolar, which I think is probably something just totally different. But I was like, why is this uniquely just men that I'm hearing this from? And I've had my own struggles with anxiety and like just wondering about why the world is the way it is. And getting to like really deep, dark places and thinking, wow, I wonder if this is part of what they experienced. And for me, the lowest I'll get is when I'm expressing myself the least. So I've been able to work on that, to start expressing myself more, to the point where these days I feel extremely vulnerable and still anxious, but like I feel very raw a lot of the time. And it's affected me, but it's affected me, I feel, more on the surface, kind of just like scared and anxious, but it's also helped me understand myself better and to cope with these feelings of being scared and whatever.
No, I think that makes, I mean, I'm no psychiatrist, but like that makes sense in the sense that like there's this, I don't know, societal pressure on men to not show when they're scared or when they're anxious or when they're sad or whatever, insert feeling here that people typically assigned to women. Like even women who are like super emotional, people are like, oh my gosh, she's crazy, or like she's a nutcase. Like it's not, emotion is just not looked at as, and vulnerability are just not looked at as strengths, especially amongst like men, straight men specifically. So I can understand why then like there was all these mental breaks happening amongst the men that you knew.
And I don't know the specifics of all those instances, but there was maybe 5 people I knew, like up until the time I was in college, where I kept hearing stories about these things. So I was like, there's got to be something. What's going on here? But yeah, that repression is helpful to nobody. But it's hard to recognize that at one, and then it's hard to act on it and change that behavior for sure. That's like deep digging. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, it requires work. Yeah. Like you said, people usually don't know because like that's how they were raised. Yeah.
But the best thing about being
let's move on to like not a downer. Let's go to
is privilege.
I was gonna say, what's the best thing about being a guy? Everything.
Yeah. For me, I enjoy a number of privileges. That's pretty great.
Okay, let's move on. No, I'm kidding.
No, I can. I mean, those are well documented, but really, honestly, I feel like I could come up with a good answer here. But these days, I feel like the bar for being a decent guy is so low, and some people might think it's actually been raised. It's not. Like all that.
Oh yeah.
It's not. It's so low that being a good person, being a good man these days is so simple. You just have to try to listen and like try to be better and listen. Like I think listening is the main thing. Yeah, it's hard for a lot of guys to do because they're just socially inept. And I can definitely struggle with that sometimes. And I'm like resistant to change or new words or ideas, because like a lot of that stuff is being brought into our social lives and society these days. But I would just say the bar is so low for being a guy that's probably what's easy the best about being it. And also to the privilege thing, like we often just have places, we have opportunities to make change if we're willing to do it. So like the fact that we have these opportunities more so than women is, and others, and especially as like a white guy having like white men just have a lot more opportunities than a lot of other people. We have opportunities to do good. Like there's plenty of people who aren't going to be interested in doing that, but I'm constantly trying to think of like, fuck, what can I do to make big change? And I wrestle with it like every time I wake up, every time I go to sleep, in my dreams, to the point where I feel frozen a lot of the time. And I'm like, I don't even know where to start. But there's a great opportunity in being a guy, because you have power to do things that could affect other people positively. I don't know really what could be more awesome than that.
Yeah. I mean, what else is there to add to that? I don't think any guys are listening to this podcast, but if you are,
I'll put it out there. I'll get the guys. I know a lot of guys.
Like honestly, I think all guys need to hear that.
I'm a little nervous to advertise this episode because I tell a jerk off story in it, but I'll do it.
I can cut it out.
No, that's the last thing I want. I need this recorded.
I'll just leave my jerk off story in there. I'll add a jerk off story of my own.
No, I'll do it. I'll get men to listen to this.
They should. Oh my God, we're not doing great. I'm the worst at time.
Just ask all the questions and then you can. I want to answer.
How easy do you think editing is?
I don't know, but I want to answer all the questions.
Fuck you.
I don't want to cut out anything.
Okay. Do men discuss women as much as women discuss men? Which is like, this question is packed with like presumptions. Like,
I
but anyway.
I think men are often expecting women to be discussing them when we're not around. I really don't know. I mean, I'm with women enough. I know that, but then again, I don't think women are going to talk to men with me as much as they would other women. But
yeah, I mean, that's true.
Honestly, with my guy friends, I don't really ever talk about women that much.
Really?
Like, I'll talk about my girlfriend. Like, if we'll talk about our girlfriends. But
maybe because you're both not single. Like maybe like when you were single, would single dudes, your fellow single dudes, like talk about women as much?
Honestly, it was like a bit of a, okay, maybe I didn't do that justice. I gotta think about that. I'm
no,
trying
you
to
don't
think
need
of
to do any of
example.
these questions justice. Like it's fine.
I think I talk about women less than I would expect to talk about women with my guy friends, just because honestly, I'm pretty private with that. Like, I'm not going to talk to my guy friends about a sexual experience unless it was like a one-time thing and it was like a funny, interesting story. But they're not going to want to be like, did you fuck her, dude? Like, that's, no one's talking about that. No one cares. And I don't want to tell anybody, and no one gives a crap. But we'll I may have like one or two friends. Actually, when I'm single, I have one or two friends who'll be like, so dude, like, fill me in. What are you doing? What are the dates like? Tell me a crazy story. And they're like looking for the juice, and I might give them a little bit of information there because they want to be entertained.
But you're never the one who's like, what about you? Like, what are the deets, dude? Like,
yeah, I'm not going to ask a guy that, especially about his girlfriend, because I wouldn't want them to ask me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to like give them the juicy details, because then I'm not going to give them like graphic details, because then I'm like, you need to look her in the face and not, I don't want you
be
to
thinking about that.
be thinking about that.
Yeah.
It's because I don't trust men.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I'm single and I'm with my single friends, we'll talk about women. Yes. So I don't think I answered that correctly right off the bat, because I kind of feel removed from it. But yeah, if I'm single with single friends, we'll talk about girls. We'll talk about like dates we've been on, how we're meeting girls, like if we hit it off with someone, like how's it going.
Yeah.
And then I have one friend who's like gets really explicit and is like, show me pictures. Like,
God.
like
what?
Like, have you got? And that to me has always bothered me.
No.
I'm like, I don't want to show you pictures because that feels weird. Like,
no, I wouldn't do. No.
Asking for the picture for the right reason.
No. Yeah,
And
you know
also,
what he's asking for.
Yeah,
like,
I would just rather you met them in person, because like the picture feels like I'm showing them off, and it's like, that's not.
Yeah. Do you remember that scene in I Love You Man in the car with Paul Rudd and Rashida Jones, and then she puts it on speakerphone, and then her friend starts talking about like,
Yes.
I forget, like, but something about Paul Rudd's sexual performance, and he's like, what, you talk about that to your girlfriends?
Her friend says, oh, because he used to go down on you like all the time.
Oh yes. Yeah. Which is so
like,
private
okay,
to
bye.
me. Like, yeah, I think for women, I don't know, I'm not speaking for all women, but like if I'm a single woman, of course we've talked about guys, but like I don't think I could ever, if I were going out with someone like steady, I wouldn't talk about her love life. Like, I don't know, it feels weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just like, because you want to maintain a level of respect, And
yeah.
And the person I'm dating would have to be okay with me sharing details. Like, I think that's
Yes.
really it.
I think if that's settled, then I could talk about
Yeah.
them. But if they don't know, it's like, I don't feel comfortable.
Because it would be great to get to a place where just culturally we're way more comfortable with sex and really understand that, like, we all want it and we all want to do it. Or I should say the vast majority of us are think it's like the greatest thing ever. And there's just so much ignoring of that is just caused so many ripples that are like so bad and negative. And I would love to get to a place where we're all just very open and comfortable with it, on the same page about it, but I just don't think a lot of people are. So I would choose to be kind of private, just because I I don't think the other person would respect it, and I'm not really interested in giving away that private information either when I'm like in a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the next question you kind of talked about, so I'm gonna skip it. I guess this is the last question. It's a good one to end on. Hair or no hair? You know what I'm talking about. No, okay. This could be a couple things. It could be like hair, like the visible places, armpits, like legs, and also hair down there. You know what I'm talking about.
She's pointing at her crotch.
So I guess it's a twofold question.
Yeah, we can be specific about where the hair is.
Because some people might prefer one and not both, or like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I have learned over the years that I think I prefer hair. And it's kind of a bummer because it's still not.
Wait, where?
Super prevalent. I think hairy armpits are
specific.
sexy. That's going to be a controversial take. I know some people are just, they're going to yell at me. I'm going to see the comments.
There's no comments.
Blogs written about me. Yes, jackass. But yeah, I think armpit hair is pretty sexy. And I think, and also hair down there. So if the drapes are the head and the carpet is the vagina, what is the armpit?
I don't know. It's too much thinking. I don't know. What is it?
That would be cool. I don't know. That's actually a question.
Oh, you're just asking it for.
I thought it'd be like cool to just be able to talk about it in the same kind of manner.
Oh.
But I'll the throw pillow.
Yeah. Okay.
They're kind of like tucked away in a.
No, they are tucked. They are tucked.
A couch, a love
seat.
They're
tucked in a couch. The couch is
like
the arm.
Pillow on a love seat.
Yeah.
Tucked in the armpit.
That works.
So yeah, I think the hair, like hairy armpits are still really feminine. I have yet to see a hairy armpit on a woman that is like manly.
Yeah.
And for me, I wouldn't be attracted to certain masculine manly qualities, and I don't think those are like, that's a blurred line anyway. It's just like a feeling you get. Some things just are attractive, some things aren't. But I've definitely seen hairy armpits that are very feminine and are attractive because it's feminine for me, but it's also because it's unique. And I'm like definitely attracted to women who are just different and not like, I can recognize when a woman is classically beautiful, but I probably would be like, yeah, they're beautiful, but like, I'm not even, it's not anyone I'd be interested in talking to or being with. And then hair down there, yeah, that's also appealing, for kind of the same reasons. And I think there's also like, part of that is because there's just something exciting about like kind of a how do I put this?
Navigating? No.
Yeah, honestly, there's like a bit of discovery if it's like a bush.
Yeah. Oh
There's
yeah. I mean,
that.
there's levels, right? There's a full bush. There's like
Then there's just
people
like
trim, and then
a
some
neat,
people,
a
yeah, some
neat,
people trim, and some
yeah,
people leave like a little strip, and then some people just go bare.
yeah.
So I guess you're saying it doesn't. You prefer any hair.
I don't know the biggest bush I've seen. I don't know if I've seen like a full bush.
They're rare nowadays. They're honestly rare. I mean, maybe they're making a comeback because the hairy armpits are making a comeback too, and hairy legs. So maybe they're making a comeback, a full
But
bush.
yeah, I've seen like a large spectrum of hair that hasn't been like a full bush. But yeah, I think honestly, like kind of going back to maybe the first topic we talked about, someone, whatever they're doing, if they're doing it confidently, that's really appealing. So yeah, and there's also like, it's honestly, if you're gonna like go down there and spend time down there, I'm like so childish.
No, I'm
I don't
serious.
know how to talk about it without sounding
Yeah,
goofy.
that's
If you're gonna
actually
spend
my follow-up question. So I'm glad you're
if you're
talking
gonna
about it.
spend time down there, it's like something else to occupy yourself
Oh
with.
my God, that's so refreshing, I guess, to hear, because usually you hear like I mean that they'd rather not work through that obstacle to get to the thing. So yeah, shake your head. Fucking SMH, dude. But I honestly doubt you've seen a full bush, because bushes can get fucking bushy.
I think the biggest bush I've ever almost seen was when I was apple picking with my family a while back, and this woman lifted her arms up and her shirt lifted, and I saw like the bush coming out the
Yeah,
top of her pants.
exactly.
I was like,
That's
now
how
that's a
big
bush.
that's how big bushes can get. I only know because there was a time when I didn't care about it.
Yeah.
And it can get real,
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
like a forest.
I mean, I have a bush. I know. I mean, I don't have a
Yeah,
bush. I'm not going to
I know
describe,
dudes have, yeah.
but yeah,
Um,
I know how it gets.
yeah. uh, okay. Wow. These are all, I mean, you're a very unique guy, I think. So I mean, some of these questions didn't turn out what people would expect them to
I
turn
hope
out.
not. I hope we're changing the narrative.
No, it's good. I'm glad you brought up that conversation about um men using their privilege for good, and not just being like, oh man, like everything's so PC now, like, oh, I can't even like hug a woman. Like instead of doing that, just be like, oh well, how can we use this, our actual privilege, for to change the narrative, like you said. So I'm
Yeah,
glad you
but
brought that up.
that thing about like, oh, I can't even hug a woman, like, well, you would know that that's not the case if you were listening. So if you could
Yeah.
just listen, then you would understand your role and know how you can be comfortable. But honestly, there's just so many behaviors that men have culturally that are just so wrong that
Yeah.
I don't I would never want to believe that anyone's hopeless, but it's just going to take a lot.
I mean, it is
to get
just like race relation. It's gonna take a lot.
Yeah,
This is gonna take a lot. A lot of things are
yeah,
gonna take a long time. So,
yeah.
um,
This,
uh,
this episode feels like the perfect episode to have an episode 2 of someday, with more questions coming in.
oh, okay. I was gonna bring up something to you after I stopped recording, so that's
Oh,
good.
interesting.
Okay. Anywho, thank you for listening to this 15-minute podcast turned 75 minutes podcast.
Nice.
So hope you got a lot out of it. I know I did. Hope Jack did also.
Oh yeah, I love
Um,
contributing.
yeah, no, it's great.
Love the podcast. Love the deep
Aw,
convo pod.
I love deep convos with you.
Oh, you too,
Um,
Fran.
so if you want to see more of Jack, I'm sure people want to see more of you. I'm gonna put your
Yeah.
I'm gonna put your socials in the description.
Yeah, DM me with these
DM
questions.
slide, no, maybe not slide into his DMs, but like
Don't do that.
gently like DM him.
Put in the comments of one of my posts so my mom sees it.
Yeah, make sure to, yeah, make it public, not private. Anyway, I don't know how to wrap things up, so I'm just gonna wrap it up here. Until next time, bye everyone.
Bye.